Hello, and you're listening to the AI Moment with me, Jonathan Wagstaff.
And me, Danny Denhard.
And this time, we're going to talk about the Agentic web. What is it, and why is there all the hype about it? So, Danny, why don't you lead us up for this one?
Sure. So the agentic web sounds quite intimidating, but what it is and why it is and why the hype behind it, so you might have heard someone technical talk around it, is the agentic web is basically the next phase of where we will have agents or bots that will go and complete tasks on its own and have a way to spend some money or a set budget on an action to take. So think of it very much like this. If you were looking to buy some tickets, but you had to go into an important meeting, you could set up your bot, your assistant, to go and buy those tickets, and you can set parameters. So you could say, I'm going to use a really bad example. I need 2 Coldplay tickets for Wembley, and the most I'll pay is £250. You can ask your bot, your agentic bot, to go out and complete that transaction for you, and it could go and sign on your behalf and make that purchase. So something that I think a lot of people will see the benefit of, but again, there's going to be a lot of fear around what this bot can and can't do, and a lot of the technical architecture of the web is being rebuilt as we talk. So to get a little bit technical, what this needs is an MCP, which is the Model Context Protocol, which basically means it's built so you can allow agents to take actions and go off and do a number of different actions, either autonomously on its own or with your command. And that's built from Claude, which is Anthropic's tool. And Microsoft are doing as much as they can to build this into their workflow, into their system. So think of it as a timeline that will be 12 to 18 months. And it's going to be changing and opening up the way that we allow something that isn't human to take actions. The serviceable addressable market is very large. And although there's going to have to be a lot of technical changes, there's going to be a huge opportunity where we can sit back and allow our agents to go and find the best white paper or find the best album or buy the Man City football tickets or go and buy our iPads for our team, right? So these are all different ways for it to work. If you were to think of it strategically, there's a huge opportunity in it because it rapidly increases the market expansion. It builds more trustworthy brands and opportunities for them, for both human and agent-based customers. And if you invest early, because the adoption will be slower and then ramp right up, there's a huge opportunity to make significant ROI in this. Because it is 12 to 18 month roadmap, it's going to be something probably the early adopters are going to win quite quickly and quite early. What that will mean is there's obviously some security aspects and worries around that. So can you put the right guardrails in place to prevent fraud? Can you put enough guardrails in so an agent doesn't go rogue and book a 6-person holiday when you're unavailable and fly you across to the other side of the world because it seems cheap and seems within the budget? So all of these are places where we're going to have to adapt quite quickly and be very precise. So the new tech architecture is going to be important. Allocating the right budget is going to be essential for businesses, and being robust in the training that we all have to enable this and enable our businesses is going to be really important. For a lot of people, it's scary, and a lot of professionals, it's scary because it's something that we compare chat to chatbots, and it doesn't answer our questions, let alone going to be set free on a credit card or a debit card. So there's that section and sign of it. But what that does mean as a workforce transformation perspective, it means that leaders who have experience in transformation will probably get there much quicker. It will mean that there's a lot of potential hires and evolving project demands, and there's probably going to be a lot of governance that will need to be put into place. So again, like we said in the AI taking the jobs, we'll probably see actually more jobs come to fruition and become a norm. So the one recommendation I make to most leaders is create a framework that you're happy with. Talk to the tech team that are really possible, and then upskill, because marketing's going to have to adapt to agentic marketing. Customer services are going to be dealing with bots, not just consumers and customers. And reforecasting budgets is going to be essential. So in 4.5 minutes, that's agentic, and how the agentic web is going to be the future. How do you see it, Jonathan?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with anything you've said, Dan. I think there's a couple of things that leap out. One is The productivity capability of this thing as it gets to maturity is enormous, isn't it? And I mean, as you said, it's, all those things that execs have to do, like booking flights and booking hotels and, all sorts of other bits and pieces. Any kind of tasks like that where you can specify pretty quickly what you want, that's all going to be agentic. So you move from a kind of search model to an agent model, as you say. A couple of examples that I'll give of things that I experienced earlier this year. I went to buy a mattress for my daughter, one of the memory foam mattresses. I went to this on Eve's website, and I got to the point where it's time to purchase, and there was a negotiate button. And what they've done is they've installed, it's out there now, they've installed an agent on their e-commerce site that negotiates the price with you. So I negotiated and I got some money off. I then spent that on something else immediately. So they got their money in the end. I thought, how interesting. And because, of course, you've negotiated, you're then in a buy position. You really are in a mood to buy then. So I wonder, I'd love to see the stats from there on how many extra sales complete now because people can negotiate a small discount, which they would have abandoned the basket. And then we also know back in the spring, Google were experimenting with the first kind of agent buyer. So they had in certain parts of the US, they rolled out a thing which was exactly as you say. So you would go to it and say, I want a new lawnmower. This is the spec I'm looking for. This is the price I'm willing to pay. Go out there to every lawnmower website you can find and cut me the best deal and come and tell me what it is and I'll hit the button to buy. So we're starting to see experiments in that area. I think there's two or three things to take away. One is, as you alluded to, the web becomes less human facing and more machine facing. So as marketers, we've got to start to think about how is our website set up for AI agents looking at it rather than people looking at it. And I think what we'll do, going back to a recent pod we did about what's happening with search, I think we're going to start to see kind of a change in search in the same way that the last 20 years have been about SEO. The next 20 might be about agent optimization. So we'll see people, instead of doing a search query, they'll say things like plan my trip or you negotiate my utility bill. We'll be instructions rather than search queries. And so you could end up with this thing transforming complete industries in the same way that mobile apps did a few years ago. This could be the next thing that absolutely transforms the landscape. Really interesting, scary, as you say, but also exciting. Again, another huge area of opportunity for people to look at.
Exactly. I've got an executive report that I've put together. It's kind of 2 pages. So I'll link that into the show notes that will give you like a timeline and an overview and exactly what Jonathan said. One thing I'd just call out, additionally to what Jonathan said, is that agent-to-agent work is going to be really important. Actually marketing to an agent, whether that's through email, via an app, via a website, is going to be very different, and making that usability and usable is going to be critically important. So just think of all the opportunities and the potentials there. And if you've got someone in compliance who can sit there and help do that early and often and not necessarily come in it too late, because technically it's going to be hard, but I'd just say these are all core areas where I think most people will see huge opportunity with some threat, but I would treat it as such. And just think of, like you said, Jonathan, authority and being an authoritative figure within AI and just how your reviews are going to be seen. We'll probably have to do another podcast on, but I think this is the area that's going to excite most business owners.
Oh, I think we're going to come back to it plenty of times over the next couple of years now. I think this area is going to evolve quickly and there's going to be lots to talk about. No doubt about that in my mind.
Exactly. So thanks a lot, Jonathan. I think that was a great episode for people to ponder and look forward to the future.
Yeah, good to see you, my friend, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for listening today. If you have any questions, please reach out via the show notes below. You can also subscribe to our supporting newsletter released with every podcast. Go to aimoment.co.uk and hit subscribe. We share more important links, run-throughs of the tools mentioned in the podcast, and more. See you next time.